Good evening. Welcome to Moments with Mary. Today is Monday, March the 22nd, 2021. I will continue with Women's History Month recognitions while sharing the theme for 2021, Valiant Women of Vote, Refusing to be Silent. Women's History Month has been celebrated since 1987. I will continue to thank all heroes for continuing to take care of us during these pandemic times. Please continue to wear your mask, wash your hands, and ward off crowds. Today, I will spotlight a native of Meridian, Mississippi, but this native of Meridian has resided in Greenville since 1956. The spotlight person is Mrs. Pauline McCullum. Mrs. Pauline Fleming McCullum received her early formal education in the Meridian Public School District of Meridian, Mississippi. She attended Sunday school and church at Newell Chapel CME Church, where her father, Paul F. Fleming, was a steward. Her high school diploma was awarded in 1952 from the former Harris High School in Meridian. She was awarded the BS degree in elementary education in 1956 from Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. After graduating from Jackson State University, she accepted a teaching position at Weddington Elementary School in Greenville, Mississippi, under the leadership of the late Mr. F.D. Hill. Pauline served as vice president of the Greenville Teachers Association for 2 years and as fifth grade chairperson during her position at Weddington Elementary. Shortly after arriving in Greenville, Pauline joined St. Matthew AME Church. She later met Mr. James McCullum, a Greenville post office employee, and in 1961 they were married at her family home in Meridian, Mississippi. This solidified her stay in Greenville. She later encouraged her older brother and 2 sisters to move to Greenville. The summer following her marriage, on one of her frequent trips home to Meridian, she was determined to buy a car to drive herself to work for the upcoming school year. She bought the new car but didn't know how to drive it. Her sister Mary had to teach her how to drive before she could return to Greenville in the car. In 1952, Pauline completed requirements for an MS degree in elementary education with emphasis in reading at Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana. Afterwards, she accepted a position as reading teacher at the former Coleman High School. During this time, she was awarded a Class AAA certification in administration by the state of Mississippi Department of Education. Mrs. McCullum was assigned as principal of the former Garrett Hall Elementary School in Greenville in 1965. Afterwards, she was principal at McBride Elementary in 1970. Later, she was principal of Lucy Webb and the former Fulwilder Elementary School before she was assigned to the Greenville Public Schools Central Office as assistant to the superintendent of curriculum. In 1995, Mrs. McCullum retired from the Greenville Public School District after serving as Chapter 1 coordinator. Mrs. McCullum's achievements, interests, and values were not by chance and can be accredited to the values and standards set by her loving and caring, hard-working religious father. In addition to being a church steward, he was a military veteran, railroad and road worker, and farmer. He encouraged his children to gain an education, attend church, and be earnest and honest. Her loving and caring mother continued the legacy set by her father. Her mother had been a factory worker and housewife, a dedicated member of her childhood school and church, Mount Zion Baptist Church, and her missionary circle from church. Pauline and her 8 siblings, 6 sisters and 2 brothers, were truly blessed by the legacy their parents set. Mrs. McCullum remains an active member of St. Matthew AME Church. She's a past director of the Young People's Department at St. Matthew. She remains actively involved as a member of the Steward Board. She's a life member of the Turner Missionary Society at St. Matthew AME and a life member of the Missionary Society with the 8th Episcopal District of the AME Church. A life member of the Retired Teachers Association, life member of the Jackson State Alumni Association, life member of Indiana University Alumni Association, and an active member of the Modern Arts Civic Club. As a former elementary school teacher and reading teacher, she still has a love for reading books. Her most recent reading list includes the books by Mrs. Michelle Obama and books by President Barack Obama. She is currently reading the As I Am memoir by Cicely Tyson. Her favorite poets are Maya Angelou and Langston Hughes, although she loves the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, and I'll share that poem with you. Mrs. McCullum's favorite speaker and orator was Dr. Martin Luther King. She especially likes the I Have a Dream speech. Mrs. McCullum's favorite scripture comes from Isaiah 40-31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings of eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And that's Isaiah 40, the 31st chapter. And now I'll share If by Rudyard Kipling, which is Mrs. McCullum's favorite poem. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make all allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good and not too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your term long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, not lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. And that's If by Rudyard Kipling. I want to thank you for listening today. I've enjoyed being with you. I love you. Continue to be safe. And even if you have had the vaccine, mask, wash your hands, ward off crowds. I love you. Thanks for listening again, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.